Welcome back students. As part of this lecture series on introduction to AWS, today I will be discussing on allocating a public IP address, and later on we will be looking at adding an additional network interface to a virtual machine with an example. So let us begin with how to allocate a public IP address and why it is important. Let us understand first why it is important. Right. When we are going to launch an EC2 instance, this EC2 instance will be attached with an IP address, public IP address, which is exposed to the internet. Say it as 1.2.3.4. As soon as you stop this instance, what happens is that the IP address which is associated, that is 1.2.3.4, that will be released and it will be accommodated in AWS pool, IP pool. Means this IP address is being released from this EC2 instance. When you will again start the EC2 instance after a pretty while, what happens is that a new IP address will be allocated to this particular EC2 instance from the IP pool. Say it as 5.6.7.8. It means that even and then when you are starting and stopping a particular EC2 instance, the IP addresses keep on changing. If you do not want that scenario, why? Because when you are going to deploy some sort of application, this application should be running on a particular IP address. The IP address should not change. If you think that this IP address should not change, then the concept of elastic IP address comes into picture, where this provides a public IP which will be statically attached to your EC2 instance, which will not get changed. But at the same time, when you are allocating certain IP address from the AWS pool which is dedicated for you, then you have to know 2 points. One is this elastic IP is free only if it is attached to an instance, that is EC2 instance. When elastic IP is attached to the EC2 instance, then it is free. If this elastic IP is not attached to any of the EC2 instance, then AWS is going to charge you, because AWS is releasing a static IP address to you and you are not allocated that, you had not utilized that IP address to any of the EC2, then they are going to charge you for this elastic IP. So let us look at the demo how we can allow an EC2 to be attached to a public elastic IP address. Let us have a demo on elastic IP address. So this is my EC2 dashboard, where I will be launching a new fresh instance by clicking on launch instance. I will be naming the instance as demo, going with the default settings, selecting a key pair which is already present with me. I am not changing any of the network settings over here. And clicking on launch instance. As soon as you launch this particular instance, when this particular instance gets into running state, it will be visible over here. Yeah, my instance demo has been visible. When you will select this particular demo, you can observe over here this one. A public IP has been assigned to our instance, and this public IP, just note it down, 3.82.102.56, 102.56. I will be stopping my instance. My instance got stopped. You can focus over here, the IP address which has been allocated, the public IP, it has been released. It means that it has been went back to the AWS IP pool. So, when you are going to restart this particular instance demo, a new IP address will be allocated to this EC2 instance. The changeover of IP address which is happening over here, I do not want that to be happen. So, what I can do? I can allocate a static IP to my instance. You can focus on the public IP address over here, this one. It has got changed from 3.82.102.56 to 44.202.240.60. So, this should not happen. So, what I can do is, in the instances dashboard itself, when you scroll down, you will have something set to be network and security. In network and security, we do have something set to be elastic IP. I will be clicking over here, elastic IP address, and I will click on allocate elastic IP address, this one, to allocate the IP address. Scroll down, allocate. So, an IP address will be allocated to me. You can see here 35.170.179.220. This I will select and I will make this attach, associate with my EC2 instance. Over here, the demo instance which is running, I am allocating to it and click on associate. When you get back to the instances demo, when you will select this, you can see the same IP address has been attached. Even this time when you are going to stop this particular instance, the IP address will not get disassociated. This is all about allocating an elastic IP to an EC2 instance. My instance is getting stopped. Until and unless I terminate this instance, the IP address will not get disassociated. You can observe this one. So, as part of our next thing, we will be focusing on adding an additional network. So, getting back to my PPT. So, we had seen how to add or allocate an public IP address. Now, we are going to focus on adding an additional network interface to an virtual machine. Why exactly this is required is, think that you have an EC2 instance which you had launched on AWS, and on this instance you were running two different websites, website 1 and web application 2 or website 2, and you want your customers to feel that they are accessing a website which is installed or deployed on a particular dedicated EC2. Then you can allocate different IP address for these websites, and this public IP will be associated with a network interface of private IP. this is 1 and the same happens on the other side. Network interface private IP 2. To make this happen, what we are going to do is we will be adding an additional network interface. And how we can add this? Let's have a demo on this. So we do have a demo instance which we had created previously, and what I will be doing is I will be scrolling down and I will be clicking on network interface over here, and I will be creating a new network interface for this. Clicking on demo EC2 is my network interface, selecting the subnet, selecting the launch wizard 1 over here, this one, launch wizard 1, and create network interface. So my network interface which I had created is over here, demo EC2. This is my network interface. What I will be doing is I'll be just renaming this as demo EC2 for my identification. Now once we had created our network interface, we will attach this network interface to our EC2 instance. How can we do that? First select the network interface, go to actions, click on attach. Select the VPC, the default VPC, select your instance and click on attach. Once you had successfully attached this particular network interface, the status changes to in use. It means that this network interface which you had created, it has been attached to some EC2. Go back to your instances, the demo instance. You can see here 2 private IP addresses over here. Sorry, 2 private IP addresses. Just note down this. It is one is 172.31.85.236. The other one is 172.31.81.201. These are the 2 private IP addresses. One is by defaultly attached. This one is a primary network interface. Through primary network interface, this private IP has been assigned. Second one is the one which we had assigned. Now what we will do is we will assign a elastic IP to. How to assign the elastic IP? Just go back which we had seen previously. Click on elastic IP, allocate elastic IP address, scroll down, allocate. Associate. This time we will be selecting resource type as network interface and select our network interface, that is demo EC2, this one. Then scroll down, assign a private IP address which is available 236, associate. Once you had assigned this, get back to your instances, you can see this is the IP address which is assigned by default to your EC2 instance, and we do have one more public IP which is being assigned right now. I have to refresh. Yeah, you can see here the another IP address, public IP. This is the default one, and this is one which we had assigned through the network interface. Now these two will be used over here. Now what I will be doing is, I will be connecting to my instance. I will connect here itself on the browser. Now what I will be doing is, I will be deploying two websites over here. I will be typing, instead of typing, I will go with my documentation so that it makes fast. Sudo yum install httpd -y. Paste sudo yum install http, start your httpd, paste it, enable your httpd, paste. Now just check whether you can have an access to this. Getting into demo, assigning the public IP. Just I will copy this, paste it over here. See here, I had copied my one of the public IP, that is 3.95.29.147. It works. Next what I will be doing is, I will be selecting one more IP address, public IP 44, hitting enter. It works. It means that both of my public IP addresses are working through HTTP. One is this and the other one is this. These two are my public IP addresses. Now let us deploy our own web application, a small web application over here. For that, what I will be doing is, I will making myself as a root user, making a directory named A. Then afterwards I will be installing and downloading an index.html using wget. Something is missing over here. What I will be doing is, wget-p and the http index. It got downloaded. I am making one more directory, B, and trying to download another index.html under B directory. Now what I will be doing is, I will be configuring my private IP address, virtual host, and I have to replace this x.x with my private IP addresses. One of my private IP is 172.31.85.236. This is one of my private IP address. You have to replace with yours. Control X, Y, enter. and I'll be copying my second configuration file for application B. Over here I'll be making the same thing which I had made previously, and this time I will be changing my x.x towards 172.31.81.201. Control X, Y, hit enter. So my web applications has been deployed successfully. Once it has been deployed successfully, just restart your system CTL, restart your HTTPD. Once you restart, this time when you are getting onto your first public IP, that is 3.95.29.147, when you will refresh, you can see hello A. It means that from a first web application which is deployed. Getting onto the second public IP address, when you will refresh, you can see hello E. That's it from this particular session. Thank you.